down to Biscayne.
Yikes. 5 on the floor, ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing, you can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frogs. Just like Butler said, you in trouble, y'all. Kept the floor playing, got it all banned. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, it's power, have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, and Alex Toledo, plus others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Welcome back to the latest episode of 5 on the Floor Live. I am your host, Greg Sylvander. Tonight's floor plan, we are going to get into the Miami Heat's victory. The Heat win. It feels good to be on the right end of one of these games, fellas, because I know that 4-game losing streak was no fun. So tonight's floor plan, we're going to talk about the Miami Heat's 113-105 victory over the Washington Wizards at home. With me is the coach, Sean Rochester. Follow him on Twitter at SRochesterNBA. And then we have also with me Brian Fonseca. You can follow him at Brian Fonseca NY on Twitter as well. Before we dive into the matchup, the things we like, the things that continue to plague this damn team, I'm going to take a deep breath. Let's shout out one of the great sponsors of this network, of this program, particularly of this post-game show, 5 on the Floor Live, and that's Aggressive Insurance. They are led by Lynette, who is a great friend of the program, always in the comments, always watching. We appreciate her contribution. Aggressive Insurance is a broker agency that's been servicing South Florida for over 15 years. They offer auto insurance, homeowners, condo, life insurance, retirement programs, free notary service to all their clients. They represent the leading insurance carriers in South Florida. So if you have a bad driving record, that's no problem. No driver refused. Free phone quotes. Lynette will make the process super easy. Go to Insurance by Lynette. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's.com. Again, that's insurancebylynette.com, or check out Aggressive Insurance on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. All right. So lots to get to here. I don't really know where to start, but I'm going to start with, I guess, probably the obvious, and that is that the Heat get back in the win column. They get a little more whole. Kyle Lowry looked amazing in the first half. They still squandered a lead. Tyler Herro did some things late that were good. And I want to talk a little bit about Caleb's night. I think that's probably the rundown if people want the quick rundown. Sean, I'm going to come to you first on this. Kyle Lowry had a throwback night. He's had some tough shooting nights recently, but boy, has he been playing a lot of minutes. He has been keeping this team, I guess you could call it together, but they don't feel very together as they've been losing. But tonight, he definitely spearheaded their efforts, had the best, highest scoring first half of his career, not just in a Miami Heat uniform, but of his career with 24 points, was clutch despite foul trouble. What did you see from Kyle that you liked tonight specifically? I am again saying, sorry, Kyle, I apologize, but this is a great performance and showing by him, and I'm interested to hear what your thoughts were on it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Kyle, he's the head that drives our train, and without Gabe out there, we've seen when we've had other guys at point guard what happens. I hope that people are starting to appreciate him a little bit more. The minutes that he's putting in, the production that he's done as of late. We just need this to continue. And he's not going to have, don't get me wrong, he's not going to have the same production as he does every night tonight. That's unrealistic. But can he chip in when Jimmy comes back, continue to lead the offense, get us into good shots? I know eventually we're going to talk about the offense and the stagnation. He has to be the person that gets us into good spots, good shots, good offense. The ball has to move, all those things. That's on him. In addition to that, obviously he's doing a pretty good job on defense. I think there's a little bit to be desired at point of attack, but that's kind of a plaguing problem of everyone, not just Lowry. So hopefully Gabe's back soon, but without him, you don't win this game. And ugly wins are better than ugly losses. So good game for Kyle.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and this is funny. I say 24 in the first half. He finished with 28 in 35 minutes, 7 of 12 from the field, 5 of 6 from three, hit all 9 of his free throws. I like 9 free throw attempts, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, no steals, blocked, 5 fouls, just so that you guys kind of know the counting stats on Kyle. Um, Pre-show, Brian quickly alluded to Caleb Martin, and that's where I want to go next, because I feel like he had basically the performance they had to have from someone else, with Tyler just kind of getting back into the groove. I thought Bam had a bad game overall tonight, and we'll get there in a minute, but they needed somebody else to play really well. Caleb Martin, not at the 4, but starting at the 3, ends up with a really great game. Brian, what did you see from Caleb that jumped off the page with him playing the 3? Do you think, how much of it is it attributed to that, or is this just he hit threes? Tell me what you thought about Caleb's performance tonight.
I don't know if I ever want to see Caleb Martin taking 17 shots and 9 of them being 3-pointers. But he was 4 for 9 today. And look, coming into the game, 38% from 3 for the season. Okay. I thought he was great. It's just, I'm never going to look at his jump. This is just his form. I'm never going to look at the jumper and be like, oh man, that's going in. Like, I'm just never going to get there. Right. But when he makes 4 for 9, it's easy for you to shut up. Right. And he's very confident. He's a very confident player. And that's the thing that's key in order to play him down the stretch. He played 40 minutes tonight. He also had 9 rebounds. He had 24 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. And you see, like, he makes all these little plays, and this is why people loved him so much last year. It's not just the Milwaukee game. It's the things he would do, like just getting after loose balls, forcing loose balls, getting deflections, things like that on the defensive end, and sort of getting to the right spots, knowing when to cut offensively, knowing when to move. And today, shooting open shots with confidence, which is something that the team needed. Gabe Vincent has not been able to do that at the level that I've expected. Most of the team hasn't. Right? They got Tyler Herro back today. We're going to get into him and his performance, particularly in the fourth quarter, I'm sure. But I thought Caleb Martin, like, he's not a 4. I don't want to see him necessarily at the 4. I do think, like, look, basketball is more positionless. So to me, it's not necessarily about putting a number or a PF next to where Caleb Martin is on the floor. But if you're going to have him out there with either Strus or Herro, just in a general sense, with Lowry, Butler, and like, he's obviously one of the forwards there. And, you know, he has to play out of position, play levels above. And that's something that concerns me with this club in general. But I think Caleb Martin overall was fantastic tonight. And if he's going to make 4 3-pointers out of 9, every game you take it. Now, that's not going to happen every game. But look, he's clearly worked on his 3-point shot, not the form, but the result. And, you know, even last year, he was okay from that range. So if he's going to give you reasonable production, I'm not expecting 24 points every night, but if he can give you solid two-way play, and if he's going to continue to make big plays down the stretch, particularly in the fourth quarter, like, again, Tyler Herro has the miss. He finds a way to just get into the lane, a spot where nobody's there, grabs the rebound, quickly gets a putback. I don't even know how he found that angle beneath the basket, right? He almost broke his back getting that layup in, but that was the dagger, essentially. And he makes all those little plays that you need when he's in the right role, really.
I've been really impressed with Caleb all season, because to your point, like, I feel like they've asked him to do way too much, and he's kind of for, you know, within the context of what I was expecting him to have to shoulder in terms of the burden and playing so many minutes, and compared to what he's doing, I'm interested to see long-term what they think for Caleb, because I really think he's much better as a 3. I like that you said no PF next to the roster, are, you know, like, next to the lineups. When I was in middle school, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, let's see if y'all did this too. I used to sit and, like, write the Heat's lineup down on a paper, and I'd be like, power forward, small forward, center, shooting guard, point guard. And then I'd have, like, the backups, and I would literally sit in class and just, like, write that and, like, figure out different lineups. That was where my team building stuff started to get
I did
crazy.
that with my own high school team, even though our center was like 6'3".
Well, I did too. And our center was 6'4". That's so funny you say that.
Were you trying to explore, like, the Dwayne Coswell, Zoe lineups?
Exactly. Yep. Figuring out.
We're still not getting it 20 years later. I can't believe it.
You know how many classes it took me to figure out how they were going to play Brian Grant, Alonzo Mourning, and Anthony Mason together? No, that's
Oh my
for a
God.
conversation
You
for
would
another
not
show.
do that in 2022. Oh, we have a super chat we have to get to.
Yeah, right. And we're going to take a lot of comments, actually. We're going to pivot off of just kind of dissecting this game. There's a couple things I want to get to. And then we're going to really just read comments and then get out of here and let everyone enjoy their Thanksgiving break. Before we take any comments or go any further, want to give a major shout out to our daily fantasy sponsor, and that's Prize Picks. Download the app, get in on it, particularly right before Thanksgiving. There's a great play with Justin Jefferson with over all you needed was him to get one receiving yard. It was like a free play, and Prize Picks it's daily fantasy made easy. You use the code 5 to get your initial deposit matched up to $100. You pick your players, pick your stats, pick your overs and your unders. You can win up to 10 times your money. They always have a lot of cool promotions going on, but use that code 5 to get your initial deposit matched up to $100. These third quarters are for real again. They blew another lead here. I'm on the off the floor feed slandering Kyle Kuzma, and then he starts making shots, although he's still inefficient. I don't want Kyle Kuzma.
13 for 27 and 2 for 13 from 3. I like him, but like I get it.
Yeah, save Kyle Kuzma as
I don't know if you want. I don't know if you want. I don't know if you want him and Herro on the same team. Right?
No, there's got to be some kind
day,
of rule against that. Sean is a coach. Sean, have you ever had a team that comes out of halftime and like has these kind of moments where like it becomes a thing where they come out flat every half or has there been a quarter? And how do you manage that with a team? Is it psychological? Do you not talk about it because then it becomes a bigger elephant in the room? Have you ever had to handle that in your coaching career? And what the hell do you do? Because I don't understand it, how they can continually have these lapses where they blow leads over and over again. It feels like that has to be mental, but you know better than I.
Yeah, you know what? I actually have, it kind of connects to you, like teams in your area were my region. So we used to have to ride in a bus all the way up to Charleston and play Stall High School in Berkeley. And it's like a 3-hour bus ride. And we would struggle to get off the bus. So not necessarily halftime, but getting off the bus, we would dig ourselves a hole. We were the team, and we won the region that year. We went 9-1. But we would have to get punched in the mouth before they would respond. And it was like we never panicked because we had been there so many times. To connect that to the Heat rather than my experience, in varsity girls basketball. But like, I didn't see panic in this team too much. But the losing streak, I think you could tell there was like a sense of urgency tonight. It wasn't a must win. What I saw in the third quarter was stagnant offense. And that's what seems to be the problem. A lot of pull-up threes also, which was very odd. Pull-up threes from guys you don't want shooting pull-up threes. But they figured out a way to get it back into a lead. They found a way to win. So it's stuff that has to get ironed out. But I think at the same time, you just need to win games. There's
so true.
in 2 weeks, we're not going to remember how ugly this win was or how it came about. We're just going to see that number in the win column. So I hate to dissect it too much because at this point, it's just like just pile wins, pile good days.
It's true. And I mean, they out rebounded the Wizards. They shot better from 3 than the Wizards. They got 41 3-point shots up, which is hilarious. Still shot well from the free throw line. In terms of analysis, let's close here, Brian. Tyler Herro, he struggled, and the first half was not good. And I didn't expect him to come out crazy right off the bat, because I think it was a question mark whether he was even going to play, which that was a bizarre thing in itself, the way that he looked ready and then didn't play, etc. Fourth quarter, feels like he gets his legs under him, gets comfortable, gets going. Anything particular from Tyler that you saw change mid-game from him? Or is it as simple as just you get in the rhythm and go? Did they defend him differently? What were your thoughts on the way Tyler closed? Because I feel like he kind of sealed the victory for them and kind of made sure that those runs didn't come back to kill the Heat at the end.
He was clearly intentional at getting to his spots. and he hadn't gotten going before that. And I feel like that's what really got him there, like coming around screens, being able to get to his pull up three, which he made 4 of, I believe, in the fourth quarter. Had 12 of his 17 points in the fourth quarter. And I think that's sort of what, like, like anything else, even if you're out shooting around fundamentally, whatever it is, and you start missing jumpers and you have to get to your spots you're comfortable at in order to, make them. They would teach you to try to get to the elbow. That's something that it looked like he tried to do, but was so wide open from 3 on that first one that he was able to pull up and take it. So it was like, all right, because we know he's a great elbow shooter as well. And I think that's really it, like trying to get his rhythm. The injury took him out for a longer than we expected, but ankles are tricky, especially sprained ones. It wasn't a high sprain, which is good because that can sideline you for a month or more. And it was encouraging to see him, like, at least, even though he struggled. You didn't expect a lot out of him today. At least I didn't. And then he was able to find his sea legs when the team needed him in the fourth quarter. And that's sort of like what you have to do as a star, because you have to treat him as a star now. He got the contract. Doesn't kick until next year, but he got the contract. 6th man of the year, and someone who we would all deem has at least all-star potential from the standpoint of, like, in his career, we're expecting him to make 1 or 2 all-star games. Some people would say more than that. I say get to 1 or 2 first. It's guard. It's the East. It's difficult to do. But if you're on a winning team, it's very possible. And I also want to say that for Bam, just to mention him before we get to comments, was really battling on the boards today. He was 5 for 15, but a couple of those shots ended the shot clock. And
that's true.
He was putting up some shots where he would go out and try to get his own rebound after. Like, the effort was there. And for me, it's like, okay, that's encouraging, right? And I also think he did some things on the defensive end that made Kristaps Porzingis uncomfortable. Porzingis finished 8 of 19 shooting. And I think that's something to note. He was also 2 of 9 from 3. And he settled for 9 3-pointers, in part because of what Bam was able to do on the defensive end. So those 2 guys, not their best, but you want guys to have productive nights and play winning basketball when they're not at their best. That's what makes guys stars in this league. And they were able to at least showcase elements of that, be it against the Golden State Warriors, the Washington Wizards, definitely not the Golden State Warriors, be it against the Washington Wizards without Bradley Beal. Although Bradley Beal, I don't know how much he actually affects winning, but that's another discussion for another day. Wow. And they were able to do that. So shout out to Bam and Herro for what they did tonight.
Like Sean said before, a win is a win is a win. We needed a win. We got to win.
They played them again Friday, so.
Yep, and it's tough to get them twice. I think that this is a good moment for the Heat to get another one against a division team. That'll be twice then that they'll have a division foe come to Miami with Charlotte the last time. But they got to start finding consistency, right? Like, that's the thing about this, is that even though this victory is encouraging, until the consistency comes, I don't know how much we can really take from it. And that's going to take sustained game over game, just winning. And to Sean's point, it throws all the bullshit out, like all of the matchups and rosters and spots and luxury tax and all that bullshit. Like, this is where they're going to have to either figure it out or the season will be basically for nothing. Sean, you came off mute. Hit me with any comments before we go to all of our live viewers' comments.
Yeah, we definitely looking forward to those comments, but I want to shout out Haywood Highsmith. I think Haywood Highsmith, I mean, 5 points, 8 rebounds is not going to jump off the stat page, but the rebound's important. And I just think he plays with consistent energy. He's going to make mistakes. Jamal Cain's the same way. He's going to bring you energy. Jamal Cain fouls way too much. He reaches in and does stupid things, but that's okay. Jovic is going to make mistakes too. Those 3 guys, especially when you're injured, I think you live with that stuff. And to me, like, I think those guys did enough to help you rather than hurt you. I know single game plus minus is a stupid stat. Haywood was plus 16 in his 37 minutes. Haywood Highsmith played 37 minutes in a big boy NBA basketball game today.
Sean, they're mad about that. They're asking why Jovic didn't play more. They're like, why did, and I think it's a valid question. I'd be interested for Spo to answer that question. I think he'd have a viable answer that would make sense. You think it's as easy as the trust on the defense and energy? 12 minutes for Jovic. I feel like he could have gotten more. He didn't have any fouls. He wasn't in foul trouble here. They have enough zone where I feel like they can mask him. But I mean, Highsmith, you cannot deny that he definitely brought the energy. Is it really just that defensive part of this that is the difference between 37 and 12 minutes between those two guys?
I mean, I'll see what Brian thinks. I think it's an athleticism difference in a way. Those two guys, Haywood and Jamal Cain, with the rebounding and athleticism, but they're making defensive mistakes too. I'm okay with as long as Jovic is playing some minutes. 12 minutes is okay. Like, even with Jimmy comes back, get him 8 to 12 minutes every single game to get that experience. But if he doesn't trust him, I know that I've been engaged in Twitter timeline battles about this. I trust Spo because he's at practice, he's in the huddles, he's in training, all this stuff. He knows more than us about Jovic. And I get it. The kid looks great, but trust that Spo knows what he's doing because he's around him a lot more than we are.
I will just add that, like, I personally want to see more Nikola Jovic minutes. Was surprised to see that in the 12 minutes he was -8, but he did have 7 points and 5 rebounds. Just a little bit of box score Stugats there. Salute to the Levitar show. I would say that with Nikola Jovic, like, he just adds something to their offense, their defense. I mean, I don't think he's like completely lost there all of the time. It's something that he's going to develop. I think he can give him good minutes. I don't think he necessarily needs 20 plus minutes every night, even while they're shorthanded. And, tonight it worked, right? Like, it was fine. I think he could have helped more if they played. And I don't think he necessarily needs to play one position. You could run him as a small ball 5. You could run him as a 4. You could run him as a 3. And there were times where in Europe he would play the 1 because he would have the ball in his hands a lot. Like, he can kind of be everywhere. It doesn't matter. But I do want to see more of him on this particular game. I get it though. Like, maybe it was a Porzingis thing. Maybe they wanted more from him. Whatever. Like, I defer to Eric Spoelstra as well. A lot of people say that he's the best coach in an NBA. Everyone up here would agree. I think talking to you Heat fans, you're a little bit spoiled and kind of lose sight of that sometimes. I will defer to Eric Spoelstra at the end of the day, but I do think Nikola Jovic should get more minutes when warranted, for sure.
Well, and this is the other thing. Like, he is starting in this lineup, and I think that it's Spo acknowledging what we all want to see. But I think throughout the course of a game, to your guys' point, he's going to go with who he trusts more. And the defensive stuff, I think that there's probably, to quote the great Nikias Duncan, there is film. We saw you. There is film of what you did when he was talking about LaMarcus Aldridge, where there's probably film of Jovic missing some defensive assignments. And when they go through that stuff, it becomes abundantly clear because he doesn't look like he necessarily expects to be in these moments anyway. So he's young. Manny Chang's on the 1s and 2s for everybody who's watching and listening on the podcast feed, as this will go there. Probably you'll be listening to us on Thanksgiving. Let's do these comments. Super chats come first. This is Sal Soprano. Nice to get back in the win column. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Be safe, be healthy, all that good stuff. Be grateful, as I've said as a Heat fan throughout these years. And yes, it does feel good to get back in the win column. Another one. Parrish Stevens, again with Jovic only playing 12 minutes. We just talked about that for a while, so I feel you, man. But let's hit another one. Brian, you got this.
Man, he's looking for a good one here. All right, Tiff L. I actually did see that comment. Put Tiff's one back. Which one was it? I would like to see the starting lineup of Jimmy, Bam, Tyler, Kyle, and Jovic. That's also what I want to see.
Me too.
We talked about this a little bit on a recent episode. Tiff, we're on the same page. Lowry at the point, running with Tyler, Jimmy, Jovic, and Bam. And I think under this scenario, there are going to be times where Jovic only plays 12 minutes, 15, where he's kind of treated like redacted Call of Duty player who used to be on the starting lineup for this team, right? There's going to be times where he's treated like that because Spo might be looking for Caleb Martin to add something, and maybe Haywood Highsmith has a big game or whatever. Like, Gabe Vincent finally has it going from 3 and they want to size down a little bit. Like, that's going to be sort of the spot that gets played around with as far as closing games. But the other 4 guys, Kyle, Jimmy, Bam, Tyler, will close most of the games that they're going to play in.
Keep the comments coming. Pamela Graham, thank you for the $4.99 donation. Shout out to Kyle. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Any other super chats come up to the front? Otherwise, Sean can take this one.
It's from N Lands. It says, Oladipo, what happened him now? So
I agree, by the way.
what had happened
Our
was
sentiments exactly.
What had happened was I don't know. It seems like I don't know. Greg can probably allude to this more because I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not. But if you're an Off the Florida subscriber,
Right.
It does sound like he's maybe getting closer.
Yeah, that's
Greg.
the talk.
Greg, can you actually for a minute, because we want to get to some others, but for a minute, because he went on the trip, and I think people hear that and they're like, "Oh, he must be close."
I watched him warm up in Washington last Friday, and he moved like an athletic NBA player. I mean, he was not limited. I mean, it wasn't like he didn't seem to be out there trying to get work but limiting what he's doing. He was going full go. He had a sweat going. I mean,
I've heard.
And with Gabe struggling, Greg, is this something to potentially monitor moving forward?
I mean, that would be nice. I'm reluctant to rely on Vic too much, but it sounds like that there's indications he could be back sooner rather than later. And I think that is encouraging. I think maybe, the hope is that whatever they've been doing behind the scenes there, that he's responded well to that. That was the latest news that came out of the arena tonight. So we'll see when he does get the chance to play, because they definitely could use him, but I'm just reluctant to go there. I just feel like it's setting people up for disappointment, but it would be nice to get another, player that does some of the stuff that they need out on the court. We got Jason Adeboale. I did my best with the $1.99 donation. Thank you. Surprise, surprise. Caleb plays the 3 and plays well. We talked about that earlier. Y'all, his perfect role is the 3 utility man off the bench, in that kind of the James Posey role isn't exactly a 1-to-1 comp on the 2006 team, but kind of like that wiry wing that comes off the bench and can do a ton of different stuff. So yeah, when he's in that spot, he obviously plays well. Let's take a couple more and then we'll get up out of here and let y'all enjoy your Thanksgiving. Yes. Twisted Tapioca, whoever
we won't call him by his real name.
Does Sean look like everyone's middle school PE substitute? No, he looks like an official teacher. Come on, y'all. He's an educator.
I think he looks like a coach.
He definitely looks like a coach.
I got a whole lot of these quarter zip Under Armours, man. Every day, just rotate colors.
That's how you know you're in your 30s.
Hey, I do the same thing.
And
Lands, FTX, still the name of Miami Center. It was never called Miami Center, and FTX is not the name of it.
It was never called FTX as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
Next comment.
The last comment as we hit almost the 30-minute mark on this post-game show. Thank you for hanging with us, everybody.
For sure. And with a bang, Manny. No pressure.
There's probably nothing. Oh, there we go.
Arlene VP says Spo has a system. We may not understand it. We just need to trust him. This is what Sean was saying, Greg, right?
That's a great way to end the show. Trust Spo. Be grateful for Spo. I asked each of these fine gentlemen to come to this show with one thing that they're grateful for as Miami Heat observers, or one thing that the Miami Heat should be grateful for. I could tell in the text thread that they both rolled their eyes at me bringing this kind of crap to the show, but that's just what I do. And what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for Eric Spoelstra. Sean?
Wow, I didn't know if you were going long form or short form on this, but I had a 3-hour drive before I got here. So I thought 2 things. We're starting to get healthy as a team. And the second thing I thought about is just the 5 reasons, crew and community, the listeners and everything. It's cool to be able to have a lot of different opinions and talk Heat basketball with a lot of cool people that, you wouldn't know otherwise.
Yeah. I'm in New York, and I enjoy this team, following this team, and creating content around them with the Five Reasons Sports crew, while being able to go on my other media ventures. Is great. Like 2022, you're able to do that kind of stuff. So I would say the crew we have and what we do, and I would like for this team to get some more wins so that we can have better things to talk about. So
Right. Look at y'all bringing
none of this
genuine
500
responses.
chasing.
I'm
None
bringing
of this
just
500
basketball.
chasing, yo. You don't want to do it like a couple years ago where they were just chasing 500, then they'll lose a few games, and they'll get back to 500. Nah, man, they got to go on a run at some point. I'm getting annoyed.
This is true. Look at me. I'm trying to keep it all about business. I should definitely say we are grateful for the listeners that tune in, even during the tough patches of a season with this team. They stick by us. We promise to continue to bring you content on the YouTube channel, on the podcast feeds, on Twitter, as long as Twitter is alive. And we are definitely grateful for all of the viewership, and be safe. Happy Thanksgiving. And we'll have you covered on Black Friday for the Wizards Heat Part 2. Have a good night.